Hello and welcome back to Heavy Haul in American Truck Simulator. We're gonna have all this really big green thing today. And as usual, the press is in position to report of this monumental occasion. It looks like a very weird spaceship. It's like a green spaceship. So, yeah, uh, we are hauling from... no, no, don't do something stupid now. Please. Don't do what you did before when you put yourself in front of me. Uh, I don't think you will. We're gonna hold this from Artesia to Los Cruces in New Mexico. So we're gonna have some flat ground today. And desert. Dessert. I got hungry. So, anything nice to talk about today? Well, last time my track IR was completely bonkers, but that is fixed today, as you can see, which is really nice. I can drive normally. And yeah, and the day before that, I was talking about some happy things that happened when I was driving a bus. So I think I might go the other way today and tell some things that happened when I was driving a tram, which I do as a job now. That is not so happy, because life contains both things, both happy and sad. There will be some sad stories, some just bonkers stories. The first one took place, I think it was a long time ago. Oh my, it was 20 years ago, in 2003. I think the winter in 2003. I was driving on one of our lines. This is like an old line that was first built in started being built in 1920s. So and it's a reminiscence of the old tram system that was in Stockholm, one of the suburban lines. And by this time in the 2003, we were driving these really old trams from the 40s. I might leave a link to a picture of it in the description. We'll see. Okay, that were my cats, if anybody heard. So I was driving this tram and had driven it all morning. It was really dark and it was middle of the winter, and the sun has just started to come up. So it just like this sun reflecting in the snow, really beautiful morning. And I was on my fourth out of five laps that I was gonna do that morning. And I leave the last station before the big terminus. And maybe 200 to 250 meters after that stop, there is a pedestrian crossing. And there are no lights or anything, it's just some like this pedestrian barrier where like two fences overlap each other, so people should stop and look for the trams, and there's a big sign that says watch out for trams. And on the left side of the track, at this point we are actually driving on the left. It's like an old remnants from before, and also that we have to match up easy with a good cross-platform connection with the subway at the end the terminus. So I was driving on the left side of the left track, and right before this pedestrian crossing there is a big tree, a couple of big trees, but one big tree in particular. And I was driving there, and the speed limit is 50 kilometers an hour, about 35 miles an hour. And I was driving there, and I'm crossing in on the crossing, and all of a sudden I see a woman running and just crossing the track in front of me. And I realize very fast, I brake, emergency brake, and I honked the horn and everything. And she stops, looks up, take a step backwards, but it's too late, and I hit her like that with the side of the tram. And of course the tram, since I did the emergency brake, the tram comes to a stop, and I look in my rearview mirror, and I see this woman lying a couple of meters away from the crossing, motionless on the track. And I knew in my head that I was not supposed to go out and look. But of course I called the traffic controller, tell them what happened. They said that they will send resources to help. Of course, ambulance and fire department, everything, they send that, and also people from our company. And but for some reason I go out and I go forward to that woman, because I see that there's another guy who I think saw everything happened, who has walked out on the track to check on her. So in my mind, I have to tell him that he's not allowed on the track. But I woke up and I see this woman, she's lying there, she's bleeding from the head, and she's completely unconscious. And this guy, he said that, he looks at me and says that, I saw everything, it was not your fault. I'm like, yeah, well, she ran over the track. Yes, I saw that. I yelled at her that the tram is coming, stop, the tram is coming. But she didn't listen, she was like in such a hurry. And after a while the police comes, and I have to like do a breathalyzer test and things like that. And people from our company comes, and I talk to them, and I talk to the police, and of course, and then I would come home and talk to a person that investigate in our company that investigates things like happens, accidents and things like that. I talk to him later, and I was very well taken care of, because of course it's such a shock. I've just hit the person. So and then I'm being sent home, and I have no idea what happened to this woman. So but I don't know how it happened, because from the shock the memory is a little bit fuzzy. But for some reason I get the information on which hospital she's at. So I called the hospital and asked. And they said that unfortunately we can't say anything due to secrecy, but her son is here. If you want to, we can ask him if he wants to talk to you. I'm like, well, it's up to him. Or they want, if he wants to talk to you, or if he allows us to tell you how it is, what happened. And the son says that it's okay for them to tell me. So they tell me what happened to her. She's in a coma. She has some, she cracked her skull a bit. She has several broken ribs. She like crushed her knee. But she's alive, but in a coma. And I hung up the phone, and I just lie there, and I feel so sad. All these thoughts coming into your mind, like, is there anything I could have done? Could I have done anything differently? But I very fast come to the conclusion that no, I couldn't have done anything differently because I was driving the way I should. I didn't do anything wrong, and I did everything in my power to stop with the tram. And it took about an hour later, and I get a phone call, and it's the son that calls me. Um, and we start talking, and he says that he tells me that I shouldn't blame myself, and that he understands that she was the one that ran out in front of the tram, and he doesn't blame me for anything, and he hopes that I'm okay and that I will not feel too bad about this and things like that. So we had a really nice talk. We talked for maybe half an hour or something like that. Yeah, that was the first time I had something like that, and I've been working for maybe 2 years. So it was quite an experience. And then a couple years later, yeah, just so you know, I've been working as a tram driver for yeah, close to 23 years now in January. So I've had some experience. um, a couple of years later, I'm coming in towards a stop at on another line. This is like the new one. And just before the stop, there's a curve, and the curve is going down, and we're driving in like in the median of the road. And there's like, and over the road there's a pedestrian crossing, but over the tracks there isn't, because pedestrians have to stop when they see the tram. They're not allowed to walk in front of the tram. And I'm coming down here, and when I'm going around this corner, it's a 20-kilometer-hour corner. I see this guy in front of me. He just walks out, right in front. Of course, emergency brake, and I honk the horn, and he stops, and he manages to take a step back, but the front of the tram is a little bit like a wedge, so it's like thinner where the cab is, and then it widens a little bit. And the cab misses him, but he gets hit right on the nose by the indicator light that sticks out a little bit. And I just see him getting hit there, and he sits down on his butt on the side of the tram. And of course, I have to stop, and I have to walk out and check on him. And he just looks up at me, and he starts laughing. Like the blood is pouring down his nose. I have taken some paper, and I give the paper to him, and he's just laughing, and he says, "Thank you." And he says, "I'm so stupid. I was in a rush. I forgot my travel card, so I just ran home to get it, and then I saw the tram on the other side, that one going the other way, and I just wanted to catch it, so I didn't look the other way. I'm so sorry." While he's saying it, he has this big pile of paper that I given him in front of his nose, and of course I have to report what happened, and tram, and then I can help him into the tram, into my tram, so we can rest a little bit, and then the ambulance. They say that the ambulance is on the way, and he says that he doesn't want to hold me up, so he can go out and wait for the ambulance, and I can continue driving, like turn around and drive the other way. This was the end stop. So, yeah, a little bit of a story that didn't end so badly. Well, his nose might have taken a pretty big hit there. Might have gotten a new look. But at least we don't have much. We're in Alamogordo here. And we'll see. I have 2 more things that happened to me. Similar things. We'll see if I have time. I'll take the next one. This is on the same line as before, in the same area, but a little bit before the stop. And as I said, we're driving in the median, and there's a tram stop. And as I start, I see a truck coming down from a side road, and he turns right and drives alongside of me. He a little bit behind. And right before the next stop, there's an intersection. And of course, I look in the mirror, I look back, and I see him. I look back and I see him. But he do have these lights that orange lights that blink, and there's a sound like ding, 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 ding that alerts drivers that they have to stop for the tram. So I continue driving. Across this intersection, there's a 20-kilometer-hour speed limit, just because there's a house to the right, and so the road coming from the right is a little bit obscured. So I slow down and I continue out into the intersection, and I look once more in the mirror, and all I see in the mirror is the front of this truck. And then it hits me. He turned left, straight into my tram. And of course the tram leans to the right when he hits me. Oh, never been through this before. But he has to stop. Okay, he has a red light in front of me. Well, and of course, emergency brake. We always have to do the emergency brake when something like this happens. But before, it takes a while for the tram to stop. So he hits first time he hits is right behind the driver's cab. And the next, and then the tram bounces back, and the truck hits the tram again. Right by the door. And one of the doors, glass in the door, that's like all glass, it gets such a hit, so it comes loose and falls straight into the tram on the floor. Lucky for me, this was right after rush hour, so I only have 2 people in the tram. They were in the back of the tram, but they see everything, so of course they're pretty shocked. I jump out, and there's another car who came from the right, who got glass from the truck and from the tram on his car. I was a woman who drove that car. And the truck driver, of course, I just take some papers. We have papers that need to be signed when there's been an accident. I take these ones and a pen and go out and walk up to the truck. Of course, after I've reported it in, and they said that they were going to contact the police. And I walk up there, and he doesn't open. He just sits there completely in his truck, just staring out into nothing. I'm like, and I knock on the door, and he just slowly open the door, and I'm like, hello, yeah, you need to sign this. And as I say this to him, a cop car, like this police van, drives up and stops, and 2 police came out. And my first thought was, whoa, that was fast. I was called it in for 2 minutes ago. But it turns out that this was not the cops that they alerted for the accident. These ones were actually driving not far from the accident along the same road as the truck was. So they actually saw him turn into the tram. And so they said that, well, it's probably a cell phone or something like that. He was distracted, didn't look properly. So better witnesses you can't have that. So they take care of everything, and then a mechanic comes and looks at the tram, and we have to drive it down to the end stop and to turn it around, and then we have to drive it empty back. I was really lucky that it wasn't like 1 hour before, because I had driven the same one like 1 hour before that, and had the tram was completely packed with school kids. So if that had happened then, ooh, I don't even want to think about it. Okay, we have 18 minutes left. 17. Will I have time for another story? Well, okay, I will do this. Try to do it a little bit fast. Maybe I will continue it while we're standing still. I was driving. It was on the same line, but in another place of it. And this time we have completely separated, but it's not grade separated, because we have crossings with cars. And I come up to one of these crossings, and I see a car coming from the left. And I see the car slowing down, but I always slow down when there comes cars in intersections, because you never know what to do. Even though they have a red light, something can happen, but I slow down. So I'm approaching this intersection. I'm maybe 50 meters left. I'm at 40. And then I approach it. And maybe I'm 20 meters from the intersection, and I notice that this car isn't stopping. It is going straight into the intersection. Past the red lights, everything. And of course, I slam on the emergency brake, but I'm going around 40 kilometers an hour. It takes a while for the tram to stop. It is 80 tons. So I hit this car square on the side, push it over the road and into the other side of the intersection. And the car like drags, and then goes when it hits the like the stones and tracks on the other side, it swerves and ends up like on my side by my driver's door. So I open my driver's door, and there's the car, and I look in, and there's like an older lady inside. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to finish this story. Well, I'm talking as much as I can. And I see there was one guy who jumps out of his car. He was standing on the intersection, but on the other side, and he runs up and just stands on the other side of the fence. There's a fence there, and that separates the track from the rest of the world. And he like, oh, I saw everything. She just drove her against the red light. I'm like, yeah, I saw that. And I see that there are two people coming biking, and they jump off their bikes and they jump over the fence. And my first reaction is, well, you can't jump over the fence. Well, we are we are doctors. We work at a hospital, so we can check on her if she's okay. I'm like, oh, that is pretty good timing. So they jump. They open the door and they check her. She has some cuts from the glass, but since she was sitting on the left side of the car, and I hit it on the right, she isn't really hurt that much. And they and she like looks at them, and she says, hello, where am I? And they look at her and said, you drove against a red light, you've been hit by the tram. No, I've never driven against a red light. Where are we going? We're going in here. Okay. That's weird. How am I going to go in here? Oh, to view the job offer. Okay. I'm gonna stand here a while. And it turns out that this woman, just as she came up to the stoplight to stop, she got a stroke and fainted, and the car just rolled straight out into the intersection. And I hit it. Yeah, those kind of things happen. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my macabre stories. And hope you want to see the next one that comes after this. And I'm gonna go park this after the video ends, and there will be another one next week. Have a nice day, and thanks for watching.